to you now. If you thought I was a pain in the ass before, you got no idea what you're in store for.
Who the fuck is that guy?
The Doctor and the Driver podcast
starts now.
Welcome to episode 9 of The Doctor and the Driver. This is the driver, Gage. I am joined with the best co-host on planet Earth and probably any other planet, Alex, the Doctor. What's up?
Yes, correct.
How you doing this Saturday, man?
Doing pretty good.
Things could be worse. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I don't think anyone does. Last week we had a talk with Arnold Allen on episode 8, which was great. And tonight we will be joined by the number 8 ranked UFC women's flyweight, Andrea KGB Lee. We're excited to have her on. And after that, we're probably going to talk some UFC 249, some MMA news, coronavirus stuff, potential fight stuff, see how all this thing plays out. And should be a fun show. You got anything to add, Alex?
No, man.
All right, let's see if we can't add Andrea Lee up in here. Anyway, how you doing?
Good. How are y'all?
Good.
We're doing good.
There we go. So what's up?
Oh, nothing. Just finished training a little while ago, so that's why, I had to get the funk off, so,
Cool. Well, for anyone who doesn't know, we have 8th ranked UFC women's flyweight Andrea Lee on. We're very happy to have you on. How are you holding up during this quarantine thing?
Doing well. I'm still staying active with my training, but avoiding, crowds and stuff, so so far so good, because I haven't come down with anything, so I guess I'm doing good. How about you? How about y'all?
We're making it do. We got the doctor here doing important doctor stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What kind of doctor stuff? Y'all, they checking you for the COVID? The virus?
I don't get any special checks, but yeah, it's I mean, you two, are you in Louisiana?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Gage.
We're infested.
Yeah, Gage is in Washington, so you guys are kind of in the...
Yeah, you're welcome. It all started here, kind of, so sorry.
Really?
I mean, it didn't start like here originally, but I think we were the first U.S. state to get it, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so that's a bummer. But I don't think we introduced. So I'm Gage, the driver. Nice to meet you. And this is Alex. Alex, the doctor.
It's nice to meet
you.
Yeah. So you are on the Doctor and the Driver MMA podcast. So again, we appreciate having you on. And let's see. We got some questions for you, but we'll just make it a conversation, just chat a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know if Alex wants to open it up. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm sure you probably answered this before, but just in general, I think it's always curious to ask, what got you into kind of MMA fighting? How'd you start, deciding this as a career and this is what you want to do?
Well, I started out boxing at the age of 20, and I fell in love with it pretty quickly. So 5 months into training, I had my first boxing match, and then from there I went to the Women's National Golden Gloves in Hollywood, Florida, and there I did very well, but then I lost my match in the finals, in the championship round. So I just realized at that moment that even though I had lost, it was really something that I loved, and that at that point I had only been training 7 months. So wow. I figured I had already come so far in such a short amount of time. I was curious to see where it could take me if I continued to stay, the course and stay training and, see what I could do with it. So that's kind of the moment that I decided to make it a career changing. That was the moment it became a career for me, pretty much. So, and I had already I started training because I wanted to do MMA, and boxing was just kind of a way to ease myself into being in front of crowds and, fighting and kind of get good at one thing and then kind of ease myself into the rest. that way that I could work on being well-rounded, but did it like one aspect at a time.
Did you learn any other pure martial arts after boxing, or did you go from boxing to kind of doing MMA training all at once, or did you go Muay Thai, wrestling, anything like that right away, or did you dive right into MMA?
I worked a lot of traditional Kyokushin. I guess you would say would be the most traditional karate form that I kind of worked. But I went from boxing to kickboxing and Muay Thai, Kyokushin, and then I kind of started focusing on my jiu-jitsu because I had my first MMA fight at the end of 2011, and I at that point I had only been boxing so much, so I was like, I need to work on my grappling. I need to work on my ground game, because that was one of the reasons why I had lost, was because I didn't have enough ground jiu-jitsu experience. So it was then that I just decided to start focusing on that a little bit more.
Sure. Alex, go ahead.
I was just curious, before you
That was good stuff.
Yeah. I was like, so like, Rich Franklin was a middle school teacher. Just curious, before you jumped in, what was your job? What were you doing before you were like, I can turn this over to?
Well, okay, so I was working at Buffalo Wild Wings beforehand, and they show a lot of the UFC fights up there, so that kind of piqued my interest a little bit. But I had always been interested in martial arts and wanted to do something at an early age. I just did not have the means for it. I couldn't afford it. Not to mention I lived in Atlanta, Texas, and there was no martial arts anywhere in my hometown. So, I mean, there really wasn't an opportunity for it. And then when I moved to Shreveport, Louisiana, that's when I kind of started to look for places to train. And that was at the age of 18. It wasn't until I was 20 that I was able to actually afford something monthly. And I was working at Buffalo Wild Wings. So I was making good money, and I was able to structure my training where I was training in the mornings, like 11 to 2, and then I would go to work, and I would be at work from like 3:45 to like pretty much 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I would wake up and train. And so I really got serious about it pretty quickly. But yeah, so I was working as a waitress before I started fighting.
Did your coworkers think you were crazy? Like, come on now, like you're gonna do this fighting thing, or were they pretty supportive?
They were supportive. I don't think that any of them thought that I was ever gonna maybe get this far.
Right.
I would come to work, and I would be so bruised up. I'd look like a leopard. My arms and my legs would be all bruised everywhere. People that didn't know I was training kind of thought I was, in an abusive relationship.
Yeah. That's good to be supportive, though. I hear a lot of stories like guys that I train with that try to pursue the MMA thing. They're like, their coworkers aren't so supportive. Maybe they're like, oh, come on, dude. Like, you got a family, you got kids. Like, don't you think you should be focused on more of an actual foreseeable career? You know what I mean? It seems like maybe I was afraid that maybe that went around a lot, but it sounds like you had some support, so that's great.
I did. I luckily, I had a good support system.
That's awesome.
So.
Yeah, winning helps too. So
that is true. Yeah, getting a couple of wins, because my first boxing match I won that, and then I had a couple more after that, and then I went to Women's National Golden Gloves, and the fact that I made it there in like such a short amount of time, was kind of proof to everybody that well, maybe she is doing something,
Right.
So
Hell yeah. I got a question I have to ask about scoring, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I personally, your last fight with who was it? Lauren Murphy? Is that who it was?
Yeah.
I had you win in rounds 1 and 3, and I know you lost a split decision. That's a bummer. And one judge scored at 30-27 for her, which is kind of crazy. We've talked on this show a little bit about open scoring, like show scores between rounds type deal. Do you think that would help, or do you think that would hurt? Because maybe someone ahead on the scorecards might do a little more running, not engage so much. A lot of people, a victim of split decision losses, usually have something to say about it. I don't know what you thought about it.
I feel like it could help, because I think that it would, especially with the person who might be down on the card, maybe they'll go all in, and it might make the fights more exciting, because they're going to make that other person fight, even if they're trying to run, because then they have nothing else to lose, I mean, like, they're already down on the scorecard, they got to get a finish. But I think that I do see your point, and I do think that, you might get some people who try to do that, but then again, maybe the judges will be like, okay, well, you're running, so we're going to give you a 30-27 for this round. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And then they end up losing that round, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that it would definitely hold the judges more accountable, though.
I think you used to fight in Invicta, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I heard, I didn't do any research, but I saw an article that they did a card recently and they tested open scoring. I don't know if you knew anything about that or how that played out.
I don't know how it played out, but I did hear about it, and
Okay.
so I'm curious. I don't know how things went because I didn't get to watch that card, but I'm curious about it.
Me too. And full disclosure, I am a big proponent of open scoring. I try to play devil's advocate, see both sides. I'm like, maybe you could see that side. Like, it's always been this way. What if someone runs? Yada, yada, yada. But I think it'd be there's so many cards where it's like, that guy I thought was winning or that woman I thought was winning. And, they played a good third or fifth round. And they got screwed on the scorecards. They thought they were up. They didn't know they needed to go for it. You know what I mean? So
I would have liked to have known.
I'm sure you would have.
Me for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely would have made a bigger difference for me. I wasn't able to throw my right leg though in that fight. I had gotten a staph infection in my shin here, so it was like it was staph or cellulitis. Cellulitis is a form of staph, but it was like it didn't. It popped up as like a hematoma, and so so it wasn't like a normal, typical. You get like a pimple that looks like a bite or something like that. It was in the muscle or it was underneath the skin. So. It popped up, and I was like, man, did I bang my shin in the middle of the night or something? Because I had gotten up to go to the bathroom, and in the middle of the night, I remember my leg started hurting. And so I woke up, and it was swollen. So, like, I started rubbing it. Like, I saw that maybe if I rubbed it out, maybe that would help it. And it didn't. It made it, like, much worse. So then the infection kind of spread up my shin. And this was literally the week before the fight. So my shin was so swollen and tender to the touch and mushy, because like what staph does, it like eats it eats the tissue. I'm sure, I don't know if either one of you have ever had staph or whatever, but anyways, it made it so sensitive, like I couldn't throw any kicks. And even though I had antibiotics, and the antibiotics had killed it, but the tissue was still very, very sensitive. So it's like, damn it, because that really took away like part of my game plan, which was to eat up her lead leg because she stands so flat-footed. And I was also going to go for a lot of calf kicks, but that didn't happen either. So I just feel like, I would have been able to do a lot more damage had I been able to. But it hurt me more to kick her with that leg than it would have, you know what I mean? So like I couldn't do it at all. I kicked her like once or twice with it, and I regretted it instantly.
Alex, what did I say when we watched that fight?
Yeah, I was waiting for that. Yeah, so we were watching the fight, and Gage goes, dude, she's not using her right leg.
There was a reason.
now we know. See?
Yeah.
We got the
He's
inside
very happy you
scoop
said
here.
that.
Yeah, I lit up inside. I lit up inside. I'm like, I knew I was on to something.
Yeah, because typically I do. I throw a lot of lead leg kicks. I mean, like I throw my back leg, and I eat up their lead leg a lot, especially if they're staying orthodox. So I mean, it happens. Can't always go into a fight being 100%. So.
Correct. Yeah. Alex, you got something next?
Yeah, we I know you said you just came from training. We were just curious. Kind of everyone has especially in these situations, you can't go and roll with somebody, you can't go out. So you're just kind of doing your own implement thing, or does your team have kind of a training regimen for everyone that you're doing?
No, I'm kind of doing I'm just doing my own thing, kind of, put stuff together. Today I went up to the my boxing gym, and I have a key, so it's kind of dead there. So I was able to get some work. One of the boxing instructors was there, so he was able to hold pads for me. And I got like 4 rounds in of that, and then I did some bag work, and I did some agility stuff, and some hand-eye coordination, and shadow box, jump rope. So that was kind of what I got to do today. Other days, I'm still like lifting and getting my strength and conditioning, doing my cardio and agility, going to the track, getting my runs in, and I can still get a little bit of grappling in, but it's like with one person. So it's not what I'm used to, but making it work, getting the most of it.
Hell yeah. I have to ask.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you get asked this a lot, but I gotta ask. Valentina Shevchenko. She seems like an unstoppable machine. I guess I just wondered, being I would consider you a title challenger. I mean, you're right up there. I mean, I think you won your last fight. You're already top 10. There's a very good possibility you might be fighting Valentina at some point. She seems, to the common eye, she seems, like she seems on another level than everybody. I didn't know. Where do you think you stand against her? I mean, of course, your next opponent would be who you'd be focusing on, but
Right.
Where do you think you stack up against someone who seems to have an answer for everybody?
Yeah, Valentina, she is definitely on another level. I mean, she is going to be a very tough opponent for me. She's going to be the toughest one that I've ever faced. But it's a challenge that I'm equally excited about.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like right now I would not be able to give everybody the fight that they want to see, but given some time, a couple of months, I'm actually hoping to go to Thailand and get some work and like really sharpen my Muay Thai. And maybe by that time I will have Valentina to face, and I'll be able to give her a much better challenge. So I just think, I know there's a lot of things that I need to work on, but given the chance, and if I'm able to do all that, I think that I could probably put on a pretty good performance for everyone, and make it more of a challenge. So I don't think that she's unbeatable. I certainly don't believe she's unstoppable. Everybody can be finished or be beaten in one way or another. We just got to find it. And still trying to figure it out.
I love that mindset. Maybe not now, but I've worked some tools. I'll give her a good one. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
You got to be confident, right? I mean, how can you be a fighter and, I don't know if I can beat this person? That doesn't seem like the right mindset to have.
No, you can't have that mindset. You have to believe that anybody can be beaten. You have to believe that you can beat anybody. You have to put the work in, though. So.
Absolutely. That's a great answer. Alex, you can go ahead with the next one.
Yeah. So we're just looking at your Instagram. You have quite a few followers, over 130,000. I'm just curious. I'm sure you get quite a few DMs, considering who you are and kind of your outreach. So we're just curious, what was the most interesting one that you've ever gotten, besides from Gage here?
Yeah.
No, well, y'all's were not bad at all. I've had some pretty weird ones. I get a lot of feet messages, if that's what you're talking about. Like
dudes asking for your feet.
Asking for pictures, to buy pictures of my feet. So, but that happens with like pretty much like all the females in the industry, and I don't know why, but there's quite a few people out there with have foot fetishes. You know what? Times are getting hard though, so.
Yeah, what's the best offer you've gotten?
Next source of income.
Maybe I'll start taking them up on that. That seems like an easy money.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah. Times are getting tough.
But,
you gotta make the money.
Times are tough. the coronavirus and stuff. But I've had some, early on in my career, I had one that sticks out the most, and this guy, it was the way that he worded it was just too funny. But he was like, he wanted me to kick him in his balls with all his might. He was one of those that wanted to be beat up by a female. And being kicked in his balls was like one of his wishes. So, and he wanted to be kicked really, really hard. So he wanted me to meet him like at a hotel, pretty much. So I was like, no.
Maybe
You can come to the gym and I'll beat your ass, but
maybe he knew about your staff and he knew you wouldn't be able to kick him that hard.
No. Oh yeah. No. This was some time ago. This was some years ago. That was the weirdest one, and it was the funniest one. It sticks out to me because he was like, I want you to kick me in the balls with all your might. It was kind of like all your, and it was broken English, so
Ooh.
you could tell he was from somewhere else. It's kind of funny.
I've seen you kick, Andrea. I'll take a hard pass on that. Hard pass.
Y'all don't want to be kicked in the balls?
Not by anyone, certainly not by you. No offense. Well, let's see. All right, so we'll keep it simple. Do you think? Okay, let's see how to word this. So, do you think it's still a possibility that Danny can get Tony and Khabib together to fight at UFC 249 in next weekend, I guess, or April 18th, whatever? And if he can't, which is looking like he can't, and he does want to go on with the card, what would you like to see fill in for the main event?
What are the options? Do they have any, like...
I've heard rumblings of Colby Covington, Tyron Woodley, Masvidal Usman. Those are the rumblings I've heard, but I mean, who knows? It's social media. But you know, a dream fill-in fight besides Tony and Khabib, who would you have?
And Tony would not be fighting.
Tony can fight. Just those two can't fight. Let's just say Khabib can't fight because he seems to be the one tied up. Yeah.
Maybe Tony and Gaethje. That would be good.
That's another rumbling for sure. I forgot to mention that one. That would be a good one for sure. I like that answer.
Yeah, that might be a tough fight. I think it'd be good.
How would you think that would play out for? Let's see. Who would you have the upper hand in that fight? Because, yeah, you go ahead.
I think Tony.
I think Tony too. I want to see what you had to say.
I would say Tony, but I still think it would be a good fight.
I think Gaethje's very impressive. I got in trouble by this clown over here on one of the podcasts for praising Gaethje. Yeah, because he's like, Gaethje really hasn't beat anyone super good. And I'm like, I don't. Sorry, I had to put you on. How to say it? It was you and one other guy, but just saying. Gaethje's very impressive.
Okay, but he's tough, and he always brings a really good fight. So I think that it would be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think so too. Have
you ever met Tony Ferguson? Just curious.
I did actually, in July over the UFC Fight Week.
Would his social media presence speak to the person he really is?
I would say so.
Odd individual.
An
odd individual.
Odd, yeah. I mean, he was a trip, you know, and he had his sunglasses on the entire time, no matter where he went, you know. Yeah, he seemed odd, but he also seemed pretty cool at the same time. So, you know.
I think he gets too much hate for being weird. You know, he might be cool and weird. He gets too much hate for being weird. What if he's a cool weird guy?
I think he is a cool weird guy. You know, I mean, but I think it's okay to be weird. You know,
of course.
You stand out.
Yeah, he's definitely one of a kind, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of weird, have you watched Tiger King like everybody else?
I did. I did. Yeah, that was weird, and it was so weird that I had to keep watching it.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny, pretty cringy too.
So Texas,
do you know anyone with tigers?
Mm-mm.
Texas has like the most per capita or something crazy.
I know. I don't know anybody with tigers, but I do know a lot of people that love tigers, you know, and that it was just too funny because I was looking at some people that I know. I was looking at some photos of some friends, you know, and it's just scrolling through, and you just happen to find some, like, you know, and they're like in this like tiger type uniform, and I just so happened to be watching Tiger King, so I mean I just couldn't help it, but it was just like too funny. And I knew that they love tigers, you know, so I mean, like, I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is just too much. Because it just happened to, it was just such a random, you know what I mean? I just happened to be looking at this person's stuff, and I was also watching Tiger King, and I saw him, like, I like every other, like, photo, they had, like, some tiger stuff on. So I was like, man, this is too much. So,
That's hilarious.
but I don't know anybody with tigers.
But the real question is, did that bitch Carol Baskin feed her husband to them damn tigers?
I think so.
I think so too.
I think so.
Yeah,
I
I think so.
do believe that probably happened. It's just too much a coincidence, you know, and then the freaking evidence, like, surrounding it, even though they couldn't find evidence, but I mean they didn't find any, like, circumstantial evidence. I just feel like she definitely did it.
I think so too. But my whole philosophy was everyone on that show, no matter who you sort of sided with, they're all fucked up, right? They're all kind of all sketchy people. Yeah.
They're all crazy. Even, okay, so you had Jeff Lowe, he was fucking weird. And then you had, okay, we knew Carol was, and her new husband was definitely. And then who was the other guy?
The other guy was
Myrtle.
the coolest guy on the whole show, I thought. Angler or something, what was his
Doc
name?
Angle.
Coolest guy on the show. Coolest guy on the show.
Yeah, he had his shit together, but
Wait, it was like a weird, like, call. It was strange. No, it was very weird. But because they all, what they said, they worked like they worked there 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. He slept with all of his women.
Him and Joe Exotic were a lot alike in that sense. So it's like Joe seduced young boys, not around the age of 18 and 19. And then what's his face seduces young girls around the same age, and he sleeps with all of them. They all become his wives and shit.
Yeah, I'm like,
Power of tigers.
Huh?
It's the power of tigers.
I guess it is. Y'all need to get you some tigers. Y'all be pulling all the
Yeah.
all the underage girls.
Yeah, here we go. We do not support that on this podcast, of course.
Definitely not.
Jokes,
just making fun of the TV show.
Jokes.
Tiger King. Just making fun of Tiger King.
I'll tell you what, though, I was a sucker because when Jeff Lowe got introduced, I was like, yeah, this is the guy that's going to save the show. I thought he was going to save Jeff, and I fought for it Joe Exotic. I fought for it the same. I'm like, this guy, he's got the mansion, he's got this, he's got that, he's going to save it. He's going to save the whole show for Mr. Exotic, and he turned out to be a scumbag. So I bid him for it. Too much trust for people, I guess.
I felt like that dude seemed very sketchy. I didn't. He just looked sketchy. I just didn't trust him. He just seemed too good to be true, and it was.
His goatee was too thin, wasn't it?
His what?
His goatee was too thin.
His goatee?
Yeah, that was a weird little, like a pencil drawing of a goatee. It was very strange.
Well, I wouldn't say that's what makes him sketchy, but yeah.
You don't trust a man with a pencil thin goatee. All right. No go.
Yeah.
Yours is a little thicker than pencil thin, huh?
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah. We need sports back is basically the big message.
We need sports back for sure. Because what's so hard for me as a giant MMA fan is that we have the sport with no off season. So it's like extra hard for us, right? We're used to having fights every week, you know?
Right.
Football, you got your off season. Baseball, you got your off season. There's fights every weekend, and now, this sucks. This sucks. I'm just speaking as a fan, but I mean, sure for you. When were you had this not happen? When were you planning on returning? Because your last fight was on the Jones Reyes card, right? In February.
Yes, I was hoping to return in May or June, early June. So I'm still hoping to, but I don't have a fight lined up. Nothing is scheduled. So right now it's just kind of like I'm hoping. It's just a lot of hope. But I'm trying to stay ready. Trying to stay in shape, you know.
I see you hitting pads at the track on Instagram.
Mhm.
It's great.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. I can get my runs in, I can get agility, I can get pad work there, so, you know. And it's nice to change it up and get outside.
Of course. I do have a question from one of our listeners who wanted us to ask.
Okay.
It's more of a deeper one, kind of. A serious answer, I guess.
Okay.
We were having fun, but I guess you have to give a serious answer. I'll read it. Let's see. His name is GrindGang _ MMA on Instagram. One of our best listeners. He's a great guy. German fella, actually. From Germany. He says, let's see. He says, what was your biggest challenge you had to face in order to be where you are today as a top 10 UFC fighter? Not necessarily an opponent, but a personal challenge, maybe leaving your family for training camps, or maybe a mental obstacle to overcome where you are as a top UFC contender.
Well, I would say one of those. Okay, so leaving my family, leaving Ainsley, my daughter, that one's always tough, but I wouldn't say that's where it got me. I would say all the tough things that I've had to face and overcome in my marriage, I would say, kind of made me a lot more mentally tougher, and just all of that kind of helped me, I think, kind of helped to prime me and prep me for being in the UFC and being in the top 10, because it is tough, and every day it's like a mental challenge. And then there was a lot of mental obstacles that I had to overcome. It was like every day, and with every fight. So I feel like that probably is what it has helped me get to where I am, and would be the obstacle that I've had to overcome. Because there were times when I was like, well, if let's just say if me and my significant other, who was also my coach at the time, if we had separated at an earlier time before I made it to the UFC, who knows if I would have been able to continue to pursue the career. It was, even though we had not that great of a relationship, it was more of a business relationship than an actual relationship. I think that that's what helped to get me here. I feel like I had to put up with a whole lot of shit, but putting up with that is what got me here. And I knew that if I just toughed it out, eventually I would make it to the UFC, and then I would be able to finish and do the rest on my own. So I guess that's to answer your question.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
It's a great answer. I'm sure. I don't know if that's hard to bring up, but that's a really good answer, and we appreciate that for sure.
I'm trying to, answer it without actually getting into it. It's kind of a hard one to, but
sure.
Kind of tiptoe around the subject.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate that for sure. And we do appreciate you talking to us. You've been really fun to talk to. You've been cool. And Alex, if you don't have any other questions, you can sign her off.
No, yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's been great. We don't want to keep you too long.
Oh, well, I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
I hope that, I was able to answer all of your questions.
For sure.
Yeah, it's been great.
And if you want to take this time, you can plug any sponsors you want. We know you're a sponsor athlete, and you can let everyone know also where they can follow you on social media.
All right, guys. Well, I am on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Also recently joined TikTok, though I'm not good at TikTok. But everything is at Andrea KGB Lee. And, shout out to my food sponsors who are, keeping me supplied, and, I'm not starving during this quarantine. So thank you, Trifecta. Thank you, Victory Beef, Iowa Bison, Lana's Egg Whites, and, of course, Thorn Products. So thank you all very much.
Awesome. Andrea, thank you very much for chatting with us. No pressure. We'll tag you and message you when this is out. If you want to give it a little share maybe on your social media, that'd be cool. If not, that's cool too.
All right. I will.
All right. Thanks for chatting with us, and hopefully you stay safe during all these tough times, and thanks again, and good luck. We'll be rooting for you.
All right. Thank you. Gage and Alex, right?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Y'all take
Have a
care.
good night. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Good luck. That was Andrea KGB Lee, the number 8th ranked UFC women's flyweight. What a great interview, man. She was hella cool.
Yeah, we now have a favorite men's
And women's.
women's fighter. We're an official podcast of not only Arnold Allen now, but also Andrea Lee.
Yes, and for those of you who don't know, 2 UFC top 15, Andrea Lee's top 10, UFC fighters have agreed to come on the show. Stop letting your friends sleep on the podcast. Share it. Listen,
Yeah.
Andrea Lee was hella cool. She's our new favorite female fighter on the show for sure.
Stop hitting her up for foot picks.
Yeah. Stop asking for fucking feet pic, you weird shits. Watch her fight. She's a very, very talented martial artist, and apparently it turns out really cool fucking person. And don't sleep on Arnold Allen either. I know he's not as easy to look at for men as maybe Andrew Lee is, but follow that guy. Appreciate him. Bet on him. He's a hell of a fucking fighter. So thanks again, Andrew Lee. That was really cool. You were very personable. Consider your status. You're really down to earth with us, and we appreciate that again. And again, shout out to Grind Gang MMA. Got your question answered. I know I missed the one for Arnold Allen. Hopefully this made up for it. So shout out to Grind Gang MMA, shout out to Andrew Lee, and shout out to Arnold Allen once again. And Alex, if you got nothing else, we will move on.
UFC news with no UFC.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You knock us off. Start us off.
Okay. So, we have to talk about UFC 249, which is the only upcoming event. Might happen, maybe. I don't know.
Honestly, it's nice we only do once a week for a situation like this. This changed so much in literally a week.
Yeah, changing like every day it changed.
Every day. Yeah, every day something was changing. So, if you didn't know, now you know. What was happening was it was looking good. Then all of a sudden, Khabib's stuck in Russia. We're screwed out of the card. Wah, wah, wah. Sorry. Then, turns out, the next day, news changed. Good thing we didn't record a podcast, fans. They're allowing private flights outside of Russia. I happen to know the most famous athlete probably currently living in Russia, Khabib Nurmagomedov. He could probably get a private flight out, I would imagine. What do you think? I think so.
Yeah, he's best friends with the Tsar or whatever the fuck Putin's called.
Yeah, the gangsters. That sounds great. We're good. Back on. Then Khabib basically withdraws. He's like, hey, guys, I have no say here. I can't do this.
I am not coronavirus.
I am Khabib. I cannot do this. And then I was like, fuck you, fucking pussy. Fight. And then he comes on an interview with Brett Okamoto. Shout out to him. I'm sure he listens.
Big fan.
Yeah. And he was like, No, Dana, I fight. You send me the location. I fight. Sorry for our other listeners. Not claiming to have a good Russian accent. And by the way, I am a pretty big Khabib fan.
I'm not. I hate him.
I think he's a nice guy, to be honest. But whatever. Oh, okay. No. Okay. I think he's a nice guy for sure. But so I'll drop the accent. But he was like, no, I didn't say I wouldn't fight. I just said like this shit going on. Like this is a very interesting situation. I can't just jump up and fly. And I need to know where I'm going. And if you tell me where I'm going, I can go there. And to no discredit to Dana, I don't think he knows yet. I think it's still up in the air, and I don't think he can give Khabib a location. So probably not going to happen, unfortunately. It was looking really shitty, then really good, then really shitty, and then good, and then now I think it looks pretty shitty. I don't know if they're going to be able to duke it out on April 18th.
Yeah. Well, I was bummed, obviously. And, being a Khabib hater, I was on the bandwagon. That was all his fault. There have been talks that maybe he should strip his title. Tony Ferguson said, quote, "This guy does not want to fight. He's scared. He's running. He should be stripped of his title." I wouldn't say I'm in that camp yet because, this is pretty crazy circumstances as to why this isn't happening. But, I still can be mad, okay?
No, I mean, listen, you can hate Khabib or hate Tony. It doesn't matter. Everyone's mad the fight doesn't happen. It doesn't matter who you're rooting for. To be honest, dude, you can hate both guys. You want to see the fight. This is the fight. Listen, this is a bold statement. We talked a little bit about this last week as far as, like, the legends versus the guys now and the history of UFC and the stars and yada, 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 and BJ Penn, all those guys. This is probably the most anticipated fight in MMA history. I think it's got to be way up there.
Yeah,
way
definitely
up there.
one of for sure. I think, yeah.
Like I said last episode,
Jones Cormier 2 was pretty. I think that.
Well, I mean,
McGregor.
To be honest, McGregor Khabib was number one for me. I was like, this is it. And now this is it because we saw what happened. It was really basically because it was Conor's comeback that it was a big. These guys have been fighting. These guys have been active. This is the fifth time it's probably fell through. It's fallen through already 4 times for certain in the past. This is the 5th time. Maybe that's what makes it so good. But you got to think about it. This fight was anticipated before either of these guys were champions. They haven't lost since their first booking. This is the 5th time it's been booked. They've both been on nothing but win streaks since their first booking. It's just anticipated more and more and more. We need the fight, and I'm gonna make a controversial decision. Sorry, Andrea KGB Lee. I know she said she would like to see Gaethje and Ferguson, and while that is a great fight, I have to say I don't want Tony to fight anyone if he can't get Khabib. I say push it off until things settle down and make that fight right away. I don't want to see Tony. What if he loses? I mean, then you could be like, well, he lost. But listen, who cares? We want this fight next. Everyone can agree on that. This is the fight to make. This is the dream matchup. I don't want to see Tony fight anybody on April 18th unless it's Khabib the Eagle Nurmagomedov. I want Tony to fucking sit on his hands and wait. That's what I want personally. I mean, I'd love to see Tony fight. He's an entertainer, but I think save the fight. Save the fight. Throw in someone else.
Yeah.
Alex, go ahead with what you think. I don't want to see Tony fight anybody. If he can't get Khabib, I say wait till it settles down, then book it right away.
Yeah, I think that's how the majority of people feel. I was just looking at the top pay-per-view buys ever. So number 1 was Khabib, Conor.
I bought that.
Like 2.2 million. I bought that too. I mean everyone. And then the second most was Conor Diaz 2.
And then Conor Alvarez.
And then it was Brock Lesnar, Frank Mir 2. Actually.
Okay. And then Conor Alvarez or Diaz 1?
I don't think people were that hype on Conor Alvarez. I could be wrong.
It was the first time anyone's fought. It was the first time anyone's fought for 2 belts. I'd imagine that'd be a pretty big deal.
This has boxing mixed in with it.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Whatever. I bet it was Nate Diaz 1 or Eddie Alvarez is my guess. No, Jose Aldo has got to be up there.
Yeah, it was Jose Aldo.
Conor. Okay.
God damn, dude. Conor just has every fucking major pay-per-view.
Listen, he is the king. Listen, we can all talk shit about Conor McGregor. He has things to be shit talked for. He has that thing that everyone wants to see. I know people that fucking hate Conor McGregor. They buy the pay-per-views. He has that thing. Realistically, I think he is the bad guy, right? He plays the villain, right? He's the shit talker. He's the whatever. He's the bad guy. People like the bad guy. Michael Bisping was the bad guy. Nate Diaz, the bad guy. Jorge Masvidal now kind of is the bad guy. The guys who bring the shit talk. Colby Covington. Well, I don't think Colby Covington's a pay-per-view star, but unfortunately. Hey, people want to see the bad guys fight, you know. Bisping talked all the shit in the world. People thought he was one of the most popular fighters. Sold the money. Conor McGregor talks all the shit. He's a villain. Make the money. I think people like the bad guy. You know, people love the Joker, right? People like bad guys. They like it. I mean, I know maybe it's a silly comparison. I don't think so. That's the way I can relate it to. Conor McGregor is the bad guy. You love him. Some people love the villain. Some people hate him. Either way, you want to tune in and see. And Conor McGregor is definitely that guy. And Khabib really is the good guy. He's the Batman to Conor's Joker. I think. I think he's always the good guy.
I think though, if this fight somehow actually does happen, if they do, so we saw a submission underground, figured it out. You can do
By
it.
the way, shout out to that because that was fucking good. The way they
Yeah.
did the camera and stuff, like the way they had it remote, that was fine. It
Yeah.
was completely fine. I had no issue with it. And Chael commentating from fucking a trailer 1,000 yards away or whatever, it was fine. I mean, like you could argue too much Chael Sonnen, sure. I'm saying like
Yeah,
we
way
got
too much.
sure. I mean
We gotta
that's
get.
a
You can put another
fucking
person fucking in there.
that's a fucking minor problem. Is what I'm saying. We had someone listen. Grappling is very, 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 very. It's endless. It's diverse. It's immersive. There's going to be shit going on that you might not understand. That I might not understand. That the general audience. I didn't think they're going to have any commentary. I'm like that might be a problem because grappling is number one like bicker for someone who watches it. Obviously not for someone like me who. That's really what I love. I love it more than striking. But is that you're going to see someone stuck in a position for a while, and you're not going to know what the objective is or what they're doing. It's going to look like, well, that guy's just sitting on that guy. You know what I mean? But to have a commentator who can maybe walk you through with what each person is trying to do, you kind of need that in a grappling match. Like, imagine watching half those grappling matches that are 8 minutes long where not a whole lot happened without a commentator. People are like, what the fuck am I watching? Chael walking us through was nice, and you could argue throw another guy in there. But the fact is, they had someone walking us through it. He wasn't even there. Like I talked about before it happened, there was a doctor there, there's a ref, and there's two guys. And that was it. That was it. It was just like I said, I predicted it would be. I said no commentator. Chael was commentating from a while away. It worked fine. You could do a UFC fight like that. You could add two extra guys. They're allowed one cornerman each. Or not one cornerman, but yeah, like a coach each, right?
Yeah, but you gotta have. But think like you also gotta have like the dude with the metal thing, the cut guy, the Vaseline guy.
A cut man, sure. Okay, that's a good point. One cut man for each corner, for each fighter, right? One cut man for each fighter.
Mm-hmm.
One cut man for each fighter. One coach for each fighter. Which I mean, it's really optional. I mean, I it's never happened without one. You want a coach, at least one. So Alex, help me out here. You're the smart guy here. I'm a fucking dumbass truck driver.
So 4, so 6,
So you got
7 with the ref.
You need a ref. You need at least one doctor, right? Let's call it one. Let's call it one. One doctor, a cut man for each guy. So that's two cut men. Let's say one coach for each guy. That's 2 people. 2 fighters, a ref. That's 8 people. Judges and commentators are remote. I count 8. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, under 10.
You can do it, man.
2 extra guys is fair.
You can do it. You can do it for sure. Throw in another doctor. One doctor per corner. I'm not optimistic we're going to see. Not anymore. I really was until.
Are you optimistic? Okay, so I'm not optimistic at all that it's Tony Khabib. But how about like just in general that we see a fight?
We'll see a fight. I think we'll see a fight. I think so, dude. Listen, Dana White is the best president of any martial arts thing, probably in any organization we've ever had. He's the GOAT. There's no even who's second. Nobody. First, second, third. Dana White's the fucking king. He really is. He really is. He'll find a way to make a card happen, I think. And I want to see Conor Masvidal. Is what I really wanted to see. Like a super fight. Fuck belts. Fuck it. Like whatever. John Kavanagh, Conor McGregor's head coach, already came on with who was it? With Ariel Helwani. And he said no chance. Carter fills in. It's just too short notice. Whatever. He said no chance. Apparently, dude, I'd love to see a title fight. We were expecting a title fight. We can't get one. Jorge Masvidal and Kamaru Usman would be fucking sweet to see. I'd love to see that. Apparently, Tyron Woodley, fucking let UFC know that he's in to fight Colby Covington. I would love that, dude. I've said from the beginning, fuck this fucking Woodley, Leon Edwards bullshit. Fuck that, dude. Colby Covington and Colby Covington and Tyron Woodley is the fight to make. Usman mopped the fucking floor with the then champion Tyron Woodley and had a dogfight in a really close fight, which I personally scored 2-2 until the 5th round when Usman got a stoppage. I had it 2-2. That was a dogfight. Usman and Covington. Those are the two best welterweights. And let's give Woodley some credit. He was the champion for a long time. Usman beat Covington in a really close fight. I wanted to see Usman and Covington fight for the new number one contender spot, and they get Usman next, or they get the champ next, because I still want to see Usman Masvidal.
So we have in here what Usman said about Jorge. So he said he wants everyone to hear him squeal like a pig in an empty arena fight.
It's a really listen. Masvidal's as tough as it gets. He ain't gonna squeal like a fucking pig. Masvidal's a fucking. He's a savage.
Yeah.
But I've said since Usman did that to Woodley, I've talked to certainly Travis. Shout out. I was like, dude, I don't know who's gonna beat that guy. He's the new like. I mean, his style is different, right? He's the new fucking. I don't know what do you want to call it, John Jones, like. He seems impossible to beat. Like that Covington fight, I was like, okay. That's his nemesis. We could get a trilogy out of that. That was such a good fight. No, I believe, not even Masvidal, I'm a big Masvidal fan. It's an interesting fight. I don't think anyone's going to challenge Usman like Colby Covington did. And we talked about it before. I won't harp on it, and then I'll let you speak. But look, Usman and Covington maul everyone. They have the same fight style. They do that to everybody. Those guys have the same record. The guy who beat Usman, Covington beat. The guy who beat Covington, Usman beat. They had one loss, and it was a fucking balls out crazy fight. Though that is fucking A and B of the welterweight division, in my opinion. I want to give Woodley credit because he was a champ for a long time. Maybe he had a bad night, but Jesus Christ, 25 minutes, Usman killing you. I want Woodley and Usman. I'm sorry, I want Woodley and Covington to fight. Winner gets the new champ. Be it Masvidal, which I would certainly favor Usman in that fight. Like I said, Usman's a hard fucking guy to beat, and I think if anyone's going to do it, it's probably Colby Covington. But the winner of I'm sorry, I'm ranting. The winner of Covington and Woodley, I think, gets the next title shot. And to be honest, I'll stretch out even further. I'd like to see them both on the same card. Give me Woodley Covington co-main event, Usman Masvidal main event.
Dude, when this is over though, the UFC has to do. They have to spoil fans. Like there needs to be like 3 title fucking like everyone's just been waiting. Like
dude.
They need to just stack it up.
What do we say?
Like everyone's ready. I get like they're. I mean, we've talked to fighters. Pretty cool. We've talked to a few fighters in different divisions, and I think they were telling us, from our horse's mouth, they're figuring out what to do. They're staying ready.
She said she's grappling. She said, yeah, it's one other guy or girl. She's grappling. I seen her on Instagram hitting pads. She's running. She's striking. She's grappling. I seen it might have been a joke picture. Arnold Allen, I don't know if you saw his story. He said he was wrestling. He had a funny singlet on. I think he's a silly guy, but I bet he was probably actually wrestling. I don't know, but they're training. They're fucking training for sure. It's different. Not going to their big gyms, but what did Andrea Lee say when I brought it up? She agreed. It was MMA doesn't have an off season. Like, I like football. I played football. I would still consider myself a football player. Sure. It's an off season, man. You have a couple weeks a year. You get to see it. MMA is not like that. I mean, I'm not getting in a sports debate. I don't even want to get in a sports debate with you, and you're my MMA co-host. I think MMA is the greatest sport of all time. I really do. It's my fucking favorite sport for sure. One of the major things it has about it is there's no off season. This is hard for us, dude. This is super hard. So when it does come back, I think we should stack these fucking cards for sure. We've never experienced this before, except like way, way, way earlier, like before we were old enough to watch, when they had like a card like every couple months, like back in the early days. It's not like that now. We have a card every week. This is hard. So I think you're right. I think they're going to stack these fucking cards once we get rolling.
Oh God, they better. I want to be spoiled.
Oh yeah, dude. I want to be like guilty pleasured. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I cheated yesterday, but the fucking
Oh.
donuts on that rack look good. Oh my god, I want to eat those too for like shit for fucking 45 minutes, and then fucking eat some other bullshit. And then guess what? I wake up the next day. Time to get my diet right. I'm gonna go for a run this morning. But you know what I'm gonna do instead? I'm about to get ready for a run, and you know what I fucking see lying down? Strips of bacon. Strips of bacon. I'm gonna smash it. A little bit of protein, no big deal. Still gonna hit a nice little run, no big deal. It's
Just a little
fine.
bit.
But you know what would go really good with these pancakes? Or I'm sorry, what would really go with this bacon? Spoiler alert: some pancakes. Maybe a little maple syrup. That never hurt anybody. But you can't do it without the butter. Maybe a piece of jelly toast. How you know? Next thing you know, you're fucking catnapping on the couch, and you wake up. Fuck, I already fucked that up. For that plan up. What's next? How about some fast food for lunch? We're spoiled. We're cheating. Let's get it. Let's get these stacked cards. Let's move. Let's get it on.
Yeah, I mean, still, I'd like to be entertained on April 18th, but
That's the start. That's the start. Listen, I think we're going to do what we can on April 18th, and hopefully, if Dana's right, from then on, we'll do what we can. We'll get some fighters together. It'll be different. It'll be different for sure. And once we get rolling and we're allowed a crowd in training camps, spoil us, like you said. Spoil us. Yeah, I want marshmallows on my fucking ice cream. What are you talking about? Spoil us. Let's get it. We were talking before after the UFC Brazil fight, which to my knowledge was that the last fight we got?
that was the last one, man.
Fuck.
It was the only one.
Yeah.
It was the only sport that was still going.
Yeah, and we were talking about how it's not so bad. Like with no crowd, you can hear the punches and stuff. But of course, I know you have been too, especially gearing up for our two guests, Arnold Allen and Andrew Lee. We were rewatching some fights for sure. It's better with a fucking crowd, dude. It's so much better.
Yeah, I know.
It's so much better. We were lying. I was lying to myself. I was like, this is cool. It's different. I kind of like it. I watched a fight with a big pop. Wow. Oh, she landed a fucking head kick. Oh my God, so much better. So much better, for sure. But I'm not mad at it. Like I said, I mean, grappling is a lot different. You don't get those shouts anyways. But it's different. With a fight, the crowd's better. I didn't mind it with Submission Underground. To be honest, it was fine. It was no different to me. But yeah, we need a crowd. I hope you're right, man. I hope we get spoiled. I gotta be honest for our listeners. We've been ranting a little bit. I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about other than stacking cards.
Well, I mean, in other MMA news, I mean, John Jones got his come down. Got his old slap on the wrist.
I'm sorry. I know you're a big fan. His fucking statement was pitiful. I thought I expected so much more. I'm just saying. I wasn't impressed. I'm like, okay. He's like, I mean, okay. I'm not saying like there was X, Y, and Z he should have said that would have made it better. But I read it. I'm like, okay, okay. I'm sorry to be in the news negatively again. I need to work on some things and stop abusing alcohol. Jesus Christ, you couldn't do better than that. I'm sorry. I like John Jones.
What do you want him to say?
I just said I don't know. I read it and was underwhelmed. That's all.
Well, for those who don't know, he pled guilty to his second DWI.
Now, when our episode last week, we just mentioned the arrest, right? We didn't have any other news.
No, yeah, it didn't come down about. So
Okay.
he pleaded guilty. So what that allows, so now he gets like 4 days house arrest. He has to wear an ankle monitor. He has to do 48 hours of community service, pay a $500 fine, complete a 90-day drug treatment outpatient program. So in exchange for his guilty fee, his firearm and open container and insurance charges were dropped, which is huge for him. So now he's getting, he's a good lawyer. So
getting lucky. He's getting lucky.
Yeah. But
listen, this guy has been in so much trouble.
Yeah, but so in the spirit of MMA fans, nothing really changes for his track. I mean, 90 days to do a drug treatment program, like he can do it online right now. He can start right now doing it. So in 3 months, he's done pretty much.
I am a John Jones fan. I am. I'm not a fan like you. But I'm a fan. But Jesus Christ, this guy gets in so much trouble. It's crazy. It's crazy. How many mistakes can you make? I don't. He's becoming the new Mike Tyson. Think about it.
Yeah. Except he didn't rape a girl.
Except he won't go to jail.
Yeah, and he doesn't go to prison for 2 years.
He never will. He never will. Yeah, listen. If you pointed a gun to my head and said, you have to pick who is the number one all-knowing fucking MMA guy of all time, I wouldn't even question it. It's Big John McCarthy. He's been around since day one, basically helping invent the sport. Big John McCarthy knows everything about everything. He said, I think for sure, he said John Jones will do jail time for sure. Same judge, same city, same whatever. He will do, maybe it's 2 weeks, maybe it's 30 days. He'll do jail time for sure. He didn't. He didn't. No one knows more. If you haven't listened to Weighing In, I talked about it last episode. I'm going to plug it again. Maybe the best MMA podcast around besides this one, of course. Weighing is great. Big John McCarthy and Josh Thompson. Big John McCarthy is just a fucking genius in the game. And Josh Thompson was a world-class fighter. So, great MMA podcast. Maybe the best. And, yeah, he was wrong. Listen, if John McCarthy says it, I buy it. I'm like, yep, jail time. Yep, for sure. That's a bummer. And no. It's crazy. But,
dude, well, my only guess is his blood alcohol was probably low. So, like,
twice the legal limit.
It was twice the legal limit?
Which, for a guy his size, I think you're pretty drunk. I don't know if that's how that works.
What? No way it was that high.
Twice the legal limit. Yes, you can look it up right now.
All right. Well, that makes it even more impressive.
And I think if you're that, and unless that doesn't matter size, I think that does though.
In most states, it does. It's a big deal.
No, I'm saying your size. Him being that big, I think to have his blood alcohol that high of a percentage, I think he's probably drunk, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying like in general.
Because he's a big. I'm saying for him to blow twice the legal limit, and he's fucking 6'4", 230 pounds. Like, don't you have to be pretty drunk to have that? Okay.
Yeah.
So size matters when it comes to that, is what I'm asking.
Yeah. Okay. But still, at the same, so also like that matters in when they charge people in almost every state. Like your blood alcohol depends on how bad or how severe your charges are.
Apparently not.
So yeah, I guess not in New Mexico. But if you're saying, I mean,
or apparently not if your name is John Bones Jones.
Yeah. But you know, so I saw the news. I was happy. Okay, so nothing really changes for old John.
Listen, I'm not mad at it.
Hopefully, it's a wake up call. Okay.
I'm honestly not mad at it. I'm really not. I said it before, and yeah, I do a little bit of judgment here and there, but overall, my statement is. I mean, if we have any listeners who listen to every fucking episode, I'm sorry to say it again, but separate the art from the artist. He's a fighter. I want to see him fight. I mean, I can judge him a little bit. I can be like, well, why can't he stop fucking up? But at the end of the day, I want to see him fight. It is what it is. I don't want him to go to jail for fucking 2 years and miss out on a fight. I want to see him fight as soon as I can. I do. But I tell you what I do want to see. I want to see him stripped. I want to see him stripped.
No.
Yes, I do. Why not? It doesn't matter. He's not losing.
It hasn't impeded.
No. Just hear me out. His last 2 fights were dog fights with Thiago Santos and Dominic Reyes. I would like to see them fight for the interim belt. Winner gets the rematch with John Jones.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Or fuck it, don't strip him. Just have them fight, and then the winner gets John Jones again. Whatever.
Yeah.
But then that puts Jan Blachowicz in a weird spot. Because he beat Corey Anderson, and he's arguably the number 1 contender I'm just being very, very open about me not giving a fuck about John Jones versus Jan Blachowicz. I'm hating. Sorry for the Polish fans out there. Or for the diehard light heavyweight fans, that's like, he's been the guy for years. Like, he's the one.
Hey!
Sorry. Hard pass. Like, I don't want to see it. I want to see Reyes fight him again, and I want to see Santos fight him again. And to be honest, I'd like to see them both fight, and the winner gets John Jones again. So I'll take back about the stripping thing. That's what I want to see. They both gave John Jones hell, man.
I guess. Whatever.
I mean, definitely. They were the split decision fucking win for Santos. Was Jones unanimous? No, Jones Reyes was also split, wasn't it?
No, it was unanimous. Remember, it was the one judge gave him a
bonkers score,
crazy score, and it was unanimous.
I still thought it was split, but whatever. Yeah, whatever. Moving on. We'll move on from it. I mean, good for him for not going to fucking jail. Like I said, I want to see him fight. He's at the end of the day, we're consumers, and he's maybe the best to ever do it. So I want to see him fight.
Yeah. And I think we're gonna. So that's cool. Well, as soon as this shit gets done with.
Who knows? Who knows? We'll move on from there. Alex, what we got next?
That's all we got, man. In the world of, dude, nothing's happening. Khabib and UFC 249, John Jones.
Probably true. It's probably true. Where are we on time?
Super cool interview.
We can wrap this up for sure.
Yeah. We'll have over an hour.
Okay. Let me do one last little scroll. I thought we had one more thing to talk about. Maybe not. Just give me 1 second. Maybe not. Just shot in the dark. One last random thought. Who do you want to see Conor McGregor fight next?
Jorge. I think that'd be the most fun.
It'd be the biggest one. No, DS3 would probably be the biggest one. Really, really good answer. The only reason I'm saying something different is because I think Jorge deserves the next title shot. That's the only reason. I think McGregor and Masvidal is a much more fun fight necessarily than Masvidal Usman, but I think Masvidal has earned that title shot, so I want to see him do that next. But
I do want to see Conor beat someone with, credentials. I know you're a Cowboy fan, but I'm
the biggest Cowboy fan, but I'm not over here saying he's a world beater. But I do think he's a top 10 guy. I mean, I do. Dude, he was looking the most until he lost to Justin Gaethje. He was on the biggest streak of his life. Submitted Mike Perry in welterweight with an armbar, first round finish, knocked out the fucking 10-1 upcoming killer Alexander Hernandez, knocked him out in 2 rounds, looked fucking good as ever, and then beat up Ali Quinta, 3-fight win streak, beat up Ali Quinta like no one's ever done before, beat the shit out of him 5 rounds. It was like, holy shit, this new Cowboy is crazy. And then, come on, get the fuck out of here. Fights Justin Gaethje and Tony Ferguson and Conor McGregor. I mean, I'm not making excuses, but I'm just saying this guy's beat everybody. He was on a crazy streak, and I think that streak proved that he's probably top 5, definitely top 10 guy. I don't think he'll ever be a champion. No, he probably won't ever. He'll probably always, until he retires, be the gatekeeper for the top 5. Like, oh, you think you're top 5 contender? Meet this young man, Donald Cerrone. Let's see. Michael Bisping was considered the gatekeeper middleweight for a long time before he won. However, I don't think that Donald Cerrone will ever be champion. But I'm saying he's definitely a gatekeeper for the top 5 guys. Like, he's shown that you can be young and up and coming and on a streak, and he can shut your ass fucking down. And be like, no, you're not ready. You're not ready. He holds the line. But who are we talking about? We're talking about Conor fighting someone. Yeah. No, like I said, I'm the biggest Cerrone fan I know. He's my favorite fighter besides of course Andrea Allen and Andrew Lee. But I've been a Cowboy fan for a long time, man. But mean, I said before the fight happened, I'm like, I think Conor puts him away very, very, very early. Hard matchup for Cowboy. He's a slow starter, and Conor's a fucking sniper. Conor Gaethje makes the most sense, but I want to see. Let's fanboy up a little bit. Conor DS3. Let's see the trilogy, man. Let's see it. 2 of the biggest pay-per-views of all time. Why not do the third one? It's 1-1. It's 1-1. Let's see it. After I've seen Jorge pick apart Nate Diaz, I think it's a very favorable win for Conor now. So I think it's very smart financially. Everyone wants to see it, and I think it's a fight Conor can win, and that puts him right back in the mix.
Yeah.
And like I said, Conor.
All just what ifs.
Well, Conor Jorge would be my number one choice, but like I said, I want to see Jorge fight for the title. I think he deserves it. That's the only reason I'll pick DS3. And Gaethje really makes the most sense, but I don't really care that much. Conor and Gaethje should fight, and the winner should get the next title shot. But whatever. I mean, Conor is in the business right now. He shouldn't be worried about that belt. I mean, I'm sure he is, but he should be worried about fun fights. People want to see him and Jorge. It's a fun fight. People want to see him and DS3. It's a fun fight. That's what he should be in the business of. Him and Gaethje is too official for me almost. Like, I know it sounds stupid, but it's too official. It's like number one contender fight. Like, I want to see him fight big names, like, for fun. But whatever.
Yeah.
We can end it with that if you want.
Okay.
Do you have any closing statements? If you do, say it now or forever hold your peace, and I'll walk us out of here.
No, man. Good time as always.
All right. Hell
Moving
yeah.
up in the world.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Thanks again to Andrea KGB Lee. She's one fucking hell of a fighter, and she's apparently one fucking hell of a person. She was really cool to talk to, and agreed to talk with us. If you want some pictures of her feet, she said times are getting tough, so just ask her. She might crack. She might crack and send you them toes. Or maybe she'll kick you in the balls. I don't know. Better you than me. Anyways, so thanks, Andrea KGB Lee. Hell of a conversation. I won't even call it an interview. Hell of a conversation. She was really fucking cool to talk to. Shout out to her again. Shout out to all her sponsors she plugged. Shout out to Grind Gang MMA, who she answered a listener question for. And shout out to all our listeners. Please give us a follow, or I guess if you're listening, you're probably already following. Tell your friends to follow. Give Andrea Lee a follow, Arnold Allen follow, friends of the podcast, favorite fighters. Bet on them, win some money. And I guess that's everything. Follow me on Instagram at DriverMMA. And again, share this to your friends. We're trying to, I mean, Jesus Christ, we're talking to top 10 fucking fighters here, guys. Come on. Like, if they want to come on and chat with us, your fucking friends can listen to us for an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
new kind of marketing.
Yeah,
fucking
new kind of marketing. Yeah. I know you're not driving, but fuck.
Yeah,
You know, there's only so much shit to fucking watch. Go for a run, you pussies. Get some fucking cardio in, like Andrea Lee is. Fucking hit the track. Plug us in the ears. Tell your friends to do the same. All right, man. Thanks again. At Driver MMA on Instagram. Hit me up. Tell your friends. And everyone stay safe. And wash your fucking hands, people.
Love you.
Love you. Oos.